Hello everybody, welcome to another speedrun episode against ERP, rated 1680, high rated player as we approach the 1600 mark ourselves. Hopefully he goes d4, we could explore our Nimzowitsch setup, and he does. We go e5, hopefully he kicks the knight, which is the most principled move, gaining space for free. He does. So now we finally get to explore our setup. That starts with knight g6, defending the pawn he's just attacked, getting out of the way of bishop to c5, and accumulating pieces on the king side. So now he has c4, he has high level move h4, he has low level move bishop c4, amongst other things. I should probably figure out what I'm supposed to do on bishop e3, because I know our setup involves bishop c5. What if he tries to stop that? We don't really have bishop here because of c3. So I guess on this, maybe we try to harass it. But if he plays this and we go out and then he stops our knight, I actually don't know what we do with our bishop. I should probably look that up. He goes for c4, which is a correct move, supporting the center with a pawn. This does allow us to get our desired c5 in. And he can't stop us now, because we'll just trade. And we want to get this out first because we don't want him to prevent it, and then it gets stuck inside the pawn chain. Because we would like to coordinate against f2. So he makes this move now, which is weirder. Fine. And now we can develop our knight towards the center with a threat. It's for free, right? If you play d6, which is a good move, it's not for free. Maybe he does a move and doesn't even realize the pawn's hanging, right? Okay, but he does. He develops and defends. Now you could play d6, but then maybe he can hunt your bishop, which we like this bishop. So that's why, if you remember from our previous videos, a6 or a5 to give the bishop space. They both have their own pros and cons. We've been playing a6 throughout the speedrun. We'll stick with a6. He just develops his knight. Fine. Now his bishop. We're ready to go d6, open up our own bishop, get ready to castle. We have a home for this guy if he gets attacked. And we can see what white wants to do. White can castle. That seems like a natural move. I don't know, queen e2 or bishop e3. Sometimes natural moves. Some players go bishop g5. We can just kick that guy away. And what would you do here as white? And what would you do as black? I know it's annoying, guys, but you have to play both sides. You have to play both colors. You cannot just play one color. That makes no sense. Okay, so he's thinking. He's down 2 minutes. He's unfamiliar with maybe the structure or something. He's not sure what to do. He can go rook b1 and b4 and then c5. But maybe he doesn't know that. Okay, a3, same idea. b4, c5, trying to push through c5 before we can push through f5. That is his plan. And that is one of the reasons why you would play a5 instead of a6 to control that square. But we go for the a6 option, so we don't have that luxury. We'll just castle. He'll likely hit us, because otherwise, what's a3 about? No? What? ERP has 7,000 games. What are you doing, ERP? Why'd you play 3? I mean, how does that make any sense? Where does a3 come from if you have no intention of playing b4? He retreats his knight. What? I don't understand this move. I mean, he probably just wants to copy me and stick it here and just copy me, but why a3? You don't want this check? I mean, I don't understand it. Okay, whatever. Let's just continue. It blocks his queen if nothing else, which makes our knight h5 move more interesting because he never has that queen alignment, weird tactics. So if we do go here, and even if we had another turn, are we really going to go in here? Do we have enough support? Takes, takes. Takes, takes. I mean, we kind of do. There's also the standard f5 plan. But I kind of want to just continue with knight h5. That's the reason we have two knights here, to support that square. It also gets ready for f5. So we can choose knight f4 or pawn to f5. Okay, he goes back. What? Because he's like, oh, I see this alignment, so what if I take here? It doesn't even work, because if he takes here, he gets a pawn, we get a piece. He gets a piece, we get a second piece. So it doesn't even work. And it undefends this square that we were going to hop to. So it's bad for a bunch of reasons. He just wasted turns, even though he's a 1700. So now we can move either knight to this square. I'm never sure which knight and why, because I've only played this like 3 times ever. But I guess let's just go with this weird looking one that's undefended. So we removed the possibility of him blundering, right, with that tactic, but you can't assume your opponent's going to blunder. So now we replace the knight. He gives up his good bishop. So now we have an uncontested dark square bishop. We're threatening this, this, and f5. If he moves his knight, queen infiltration. If he castles, maybe a sacrifice. And this is what we want from the Nimzowitsch. We want a kingside attack. He has yet to castle by move 12. And what does he have for it? Does he have some attack on us? Something crazy going on? No. It's a standard position where he just never castled. But he did play a3. He did move his knight back and forth, right? And this is a 1700. Now he sets up for the next game just to protect this threat instead of castling. Bit suspicious, if you ask me. So where is he going to castle? Is he not going to castle? In any case, here comes f5, the square he just undefended with his last move. Now it comes stronger. Sure, we don't get to take with the pawn and control the central square like we normally like, but we will just develop our bishop. His knight will have access to that square in the future, and we'll just play a game like that. Also playable. And I like black's position much better, because what is this? The only asset in white's position is this tiny bit of extra space, but it's not hindering our development, so it doesn't actually matter. He kicks our knight from this nice outpost, but weakens the light squares. We can't take it yet. We can't go here, 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 here. So I guess we have to kind of go back where we came from, which is fine. Because I don't think g3 is an improvement on his position. It weakens his light squares. It weakens the f file, which we're about to open. I don't believe in it. And again, what about your king? Maybe he fianchettos and tries to castle now. But his fianchettoed bishop is not impressive either. Okay, so he takes. So let's take and develop a new piece. It also, for one turn, prevents this idea, but that's not going to be, you're not going to be able to prevent that long term. He can easily just contest you, no problem. But our rook and our bishop might coordinate. It's possible. His king's still in the center. He fianchettos, which leaves you on this diagonal. He wants to castle. We can prevent it, which is super annoying for him. with queen d7 developing move, hitting this pawn. So that if he castles, his rook undefends it. Weird stuff, dynamic stuff like this. There's always an opportunity for stuff like this to work, but I don't really want to calculate it, to be honest. So I'm going to stick with the simple move that requires no calculation. Because e4, you always have to say, okay, where can his knight jump? And then what am I doing with this pawn? Do I keep pushing? And maybe it just wins on the spot, right? You break open to his king. You put a rook here. And maybe it just wins, but I don't even care. I'll win a different way. I'm just lazy. Like, that's the reason. I don't want to calculate it. Even though my intuition says, hey, try this move. I don't feel like it. So he goes here, which supports that square 3 times. And like I said, it really, we can't stop him from getting here long term. However, it has drawbacks. What's the drawback? Undefends these squares. Physically opens up the rook towards the king. Moves the same piece twice. Doesn't castle. And now we have awesome tactic. What is it? What do you see, guys? Notice this alignment. Notice his king placement. So bishop takes, check. If he takes, what's the follow-up move that wins on the spot? That's right. Boom. Winning the queen with a check. Discovered check. Maybe this one too, but then he could block with the bishop and definitely go to c2. So if we take this, his best move is to not take the bishop. But then we're just up a pawn, and he can't castle the rest of the game. His king is in trouble. What are the chances the 1700 takes it when it's an obvious tactic that I'm setting up? Okay, he hasn't taken it. If you go here, I don't see how that's any better. If you go here, I mean, that also looks terrible, but I suppose lasts for a couple more turns. We're just going to take here and then hop our knight in with winning effect. So he does find the best square, but I mean, we could just take this guy. Let's go here because he was defending this square and now and dominating our knight. But now our knight has full access to the board and his king, and it's over. He hops a knight in the center, which does hit a bishop. You know, it is where you want your knight. But our bishop, okay, it's kind of in the way of our rook and our queen. Let's get it off out of the way. Now our rook is open. Fine. This guy's still attacking the bishop, but I'm going to intermezzo check on a defended square and see what he does. Here or here. Because going into the discovery is crazy. He goes into the discovery, which I said was crazy. Is it not? Do we have no good discovered checks? Is that the thing? Well, we can't win the queen, right? That's weird. I thought we would have something cool at least. Can we take this? He gets the piece. I mean, that's just fancy for no reason. I guess we'll take his bishop. Okay, so that's just a trade of pieces. Now our bishop is hit. We can cement it on this crazy outpost just staring in his position. Because you can't really defend it, right? You can't do a counterattack on his king at the moment. So just calmly retreat. And you're up 2 pawns. You're up way more in king safety. You're up in development. You're doing just fine. You just swing your queen over. Get some infiltration. This bishop, I mean, unless he tries to trade it for the knight, I mean, it's just super disruptive and powerful. Nothing he can do about it. And how would you even arrange the trade? Even if you did arrange it, I could just move it, right? So he goes into another discovery, which should be insane. Like, check. His king goes somewhere. I mean, you could take this, but then I don't want to be grabbing pawns. So I'm going to move my queen here. Because I don't want to win pawns. I'm already have my win condition. I want to develop and hunt his king if possible. So he runs with his king. But now I have this check at the least, forcing a winning endgame with queens. Not exactly how I wanted to win, but it's 100% winning. So let's throw that in. And now let's just convert. Double the rooks. Move the bishop at our leisure. And just be up 2 clean pawns. Maybe we could have attacked this king or changed up some of our decisions, but it's also, I mean, it's winning no matter what you choose. He aligns with our king, but this isn't a threat and this isn't a threat, so he's just going to push his pawns or double. Both of them don't do anything. Let's continue our doubling, protect our rook. Okay, he goes here, like I said, so he can double. Doesn't actually matter, though. Just for example, we can move our bishop here, which defends and unlocks our rooks. And with the bishop defending, well, now you know doubling doesn't have an effect. You also can't push your pawn because physically it's obstructed. You can't include the knight without it being a trade or losing it. So you got nothing. So you can resign. Right? That's all you have to do is just look at the resources, potential resources. How much pressure can he add? How much defense can you provide? And then you see, oh, this is no problem at all. Okay. He doubles anyway, which has no effect. But now we can get in with our rook, right? You can also go here. You can take stuff. It's up to you. He goes there. Fair enough. Let's bring in our other rook. Now all of our pieces are participating. We're threatening stuff, trades or wins. If he avoids the trade, he hangs a knight. And although his knight got to that desirable square that I said your opponent will do if you don't take back with the pawn in all my other videos. Okay, he got it here, but it didn't hold the game for him. Because we're up 2 pawns. And then the knight's not actually threatening anything. It's not participating. It supports the c5 pawn break, but he never got a chance to execute it. So nobody we faced so far had the either knowledge or time to play c5, which is the King's Indian counter-strike or strike from white. Black wants to go f5, f4. White wants to go c5 and takes. Okay, he avoids the trade saying, well, if you take my knight, you'll hang the rook. And if you take the rook, I can retreat with my knight and go to a better square. So he wants his knight here, but suspicious and trades or wins, so let's do it. He takes with that, but I also don't buy this, as this square is covered by my rook, and this square is a double attack, but it's defended twice, so you're not threatening anything. Once again. So let's take free stuff for free because it's funny. Now we have a pass pawn, connected passer. All we have to do is trade the rooks, and he's pretty much guaranteed to resign. I don't see an easy way to set that up, as he moves his king forward for no reason. Okay, I'm going to go back here, just cover this square so he can only go here. The only follow-up from h5 is to try this check, which again does nothing, but says, ooh, you're in a pin. We'll just take it. But even if we weren't there, you just move your king. It's not a threat. But if he goes here, he's threatening to win a bishop with the pin. Now you could just, again, move your king. Not a threat, just a trade. But I'll put my rook here just to limit his options, make him go crazy, and hopefully he resigns. Nope, he goes here anyway, which we predicted and doesn't do anything. We'll throw in a free check. And maybe just to show you it doesn't do anything, I give him that check. I let him to do it. But you don't have to. I mean, I'm going to do an even funnier move and just kick the knight. I'm not threatening to win it because it's pinned. But he doesn't know that. And he moves his knight, you see? Easy. And now you can do any number of things. If you go here, he could just go back because of the pin. Let's get our king unpinned. This guy's down 3 clean pawns. The evaluation is +5, -5 in black's favor. This has got to be just devastating. Okay, let's cement the bishop here for free. And he goes back in the hole. But now that our bishop's here and our rook is on the other side of it, he never has anything to do, so we don't mind. So we could take our sweet time and do whatever we want. Well, first, let's just be super annoying and hit his knight. I mean, we're going to target his pawns and stuff. You could win kind of however you want, but I want to cause him as much distress as possible. And so having to move your knight again is just an annoying psychological thing, because he doesn't want to move it from here. But as long as my bishop's here, it has nothing to do. So he goes there, which goes away from our king and defends the pawn. We'll contest his rook and then attack his pawn. It doesn't matter. At any opportunity to trade knight for bishop or rook for rook, we're going to do it. So he goes here, and now we attack the pawn. I don't see what he does as his clock dwindles. He made a bunch of weird decisions for his 1700 earlier in the game, and now he protects it backwards. Wow. So let's just fix that so he can't move it, and we can target it whenever we feel like it, right? Just bishop here is hit twice. Nothing for him to do. Knight can't even jump here and create threats, so it goes back. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. Don't know what he's doing. I wish we had some type of discovery to win the knight, but I don't see it. Don't see it. So if I go here and hit the pawn, and then he checks me. You know, you can even give up your rook for the knight and still win the game. But I don't think I'm going to show you guys that. So here, if I just move my king up, and he goes for checks, I could block with my rook. If he goes for further checks, I can still go up. Okay, I'm going to give him some ideas that might excite him, but they don't actually work. I'm giving him just different checks that don't do anything. So I can win the pawn. If I win this pawn, and I have two connected passers here, a connected passer here, he might get demoralized and resign. But as long as he has this h-pawn stopping my duo, or my pawn chain, he might feel like, oh, maybe I can hold this. Which he can't, but he might try. He is trying. He's got 1 minute left, though, so he better think quick. He gives the random check. Who knew? Now, you could take this, and when he takes, you plant your bishop here. You get your king in position. Well, you can't actually get it there, but in any case, you would just push your pawns. But that's like giving back advantage and making the game harder for no reason. So let's get our king up the board where we want it. He has some random checks that don't do anything. But we're provoking him to do this, right? We're kind of manipulating him into making these moves, which look interesting and good, you see, but only benefit us. Benefit our king, benefit our rook. Ah, that's a blunder, yeah? Because of check, and our bishop hangs. I could probably maybe win that too, but let's not blunder. So if we go here and he gives this check, our bishop is loose. So if we go back with our thing, we're threatening the knight and the pawn. He could give this check, which helps us go up. So my plan was, whenever I block this check and he checks me again, I'm going to move my king up the board. I had intended on blocking with the rook, but that hangs material. So now I'm blocking with the bishop. which doesn't hang material. And now he has, again, 2 random checks that don't do anything. So it's all kind of according to plan. And at the end of all of this, what has changed? Well, our king was improved. Most likely it'll be on f5. And we're going to get this pawn and or the trade. So he's got to be careful. I mean, there's nothing for him to do. There is no careful. Because once you move the rook, you unpin the bishop, which allows the trade. And without that knight jumping around trying to be annoying, there is clearly nothing left for a rook to do. Now our king is safe, and we got our construction, and he can resign. But he won't, so we'll just promote, I guess. His king goes up. I have no idea why it would go here. $17, $16. Okay, now he's going for the queenside attack, which is funny because it obviously doesn't work. Let's just continue with our little setup and ignore him because, okay, he got his move and we take. He has to do something, and now we're threatening to protect and get a queen. So now he abandons his own plan, which wasn't even a plan because it didn't work, even if you let him do it. And now his rook is trapped / stuck. He takes for the pawn, we take, and then we restrict the king. We don't check the king. We restrict it so it can't move. Then we get another queen. Then he resigns. You see? You don't grab all the pawns. You just cut the king off. They get demoralized and they resign. So we have a Nimzowitsch game. Okay, we have 2 mistakes. Okay, you can't see the bar, but it's just from winning to better and winning to winning. So black was just crushing the entire time. So not mistakes I'm too concerned about. Development in center, center and development. Force move in defense. Development in center for free. Prophylaxis against knight a4. Center and development, king safety and development. Improving a piece. It's not that it's better on h5, it's that it's coordinating on f4 where it will be better, and you're getting out of the way of the f-pawn. So you're furthering your own plan. He moves again, and now we can plant the knight on f4, and this is the correct knight. If you do the other knight, it says he has g4 option, destabilizing you. Okay, so there's one reason. So we chose the correct knight. It just seems more natural. And black's better from here on out. We're already minus 0.8 or 0.6. He takes, force move. Minus 1.4 and higher from here on out. Okay, f5. It's the best move, and it's in accordance with our plan, and it improves our pieces, our rook and our bishop. Okay, it's our knight, force move. He takes, force move, development, center, nearly minus 2. You see, I knew it. The best move is e4. I've had a feeling since his king's here, you're easily just going to get a rook in. His f-file is kind of destroyed. There has to be some tactics, but I really didn't want to calculate it. But it's really strong at minus 3. But instead, I said I was going to make. So this is my one of my 2 mistakes because I knew it was good. Didn't feel like calculating, and went queen to d7, which is prophylaxis against castling. Is an annoying move, maintains our minus 1.4 advantage, but isn't as strong or dynamic as ripping open towards his king. Now, if we want to just take a quick look at the line and let the engine do all the work, we'll probably jump in the center, and now we have some ideas here, here, and here. So queen f6 aligns some checkmate discovery options, also hitting the knight. So if he takes this to get rid of the knight, and now we're threatening 3 things here. Whether he castles or defends it normally, you can't defend it enough times. And if he takes here, we go here, and apparently this is just so devastatingly strong. All the lines. King's in the kill zone. -3. Fair enough. But I'm glad we didn't have to calculate any of that and just played a simple move that I like. He retreats. It's already -4. So even though we made our mistake knowingly, I mean, he makes one move and it goes to -4. Now, he should just castle, obviously. Because your king's in trouble. You haven't castled yet. You need to protect this pawn. But he moves the same piece again, like a 5th time. And unlocks the beast. So normally we'd have a regular advantage of -1.5 if we just play a regular game. But here we have the opportunity to win on the spot at -4 and take this guy. Now, they say even though he loses his queen, he's still supposed to just take the bishop because everything else is just as bad. He tries to go here, which I think is the best human move, but because you didn't take the bishop, I mean, I'm still going to crush your king. So free stuff, -5. Okay, free stuff because trades or wins, and clearancing our pieces. Improving a piece for free, best move. He goes here, and I was looking for some type of cool move. Do we have any? Bishop h4, queen f7, queen f5. Okay, so just queen f5 is like a standard, nice developing move to get in your queen. Opposite is king. And then if he takes, you have some type of mate with 92. Because if the queen takes, you have epaulettes mate here. Okay, so queen f5 is a little fancy, but we didn't need to do any of that. We're already winning. Take his free stuff for free. He has to take back. And then, you know, maybe bishop h4 I didn't even consider. Kind of auto-moved, but I kind of like bishop h4 in the sense that it cuts off his king and leaves the rook open. Because where I put it is fine in winning, and, you know, it's cemented, but it blocks your rook, which I don't like. So if there were no rooks on the board, I love this square. I think it's awesome. But with the rooks on the board, I should have considered the h-file because he can't really harass it, and it keeps the options open. Neither here nor there. Anyway, he goes into the alignment, which I said has to be crazy. And now if you go pawn hunting, you're still completely winning because it's check and you can take here. But then maybe he comes here. I mean, you're fine, but who cares about an extra pawn? By far, by -11 compared to -5, which is more than double, queen f5 developing for free. Okay, so why'd I go here and not f5 though? I don't think I had a reason. I think I just was like, oh, let me get it to the f-file and put it here. But yeah, go to queen f5, the most forward available square. Okay, but this is still -5, totally crushing. Setting up discoveries. He goes here, and now we just go for the queen trade. You could keep it on because he has a weak king, but we are up +2 with a perfect structure, so we can convert into an easily winning endgame. But yeah, you could have kept the queens on too. In any case, we just improve a piece for free because trades or wins. And then free stuff, trades or wins. It's -2.5, which means, and this is the lowest it's going to be from here on out. So -2.5 higher from here on out. So our second mistake I don't even know where it is, but doesn't exist. The first mistake we did on purpose because we didn't want to calculate. Fine. So we improve a piece, prepare doubling, get our least active piece in the game. Okay, let's say prophylaxis, protecting the pawn, and not just prophylaxis, but it's aggressive in that it unlocks the rooks. Improve for free. Improve for free. Free stuff because trades or wins. Free stuff for free. Just prophylaxis covering knight f5, -5. He does random moves. Improve for free. And improve for free. Not a real threat, but whatever. Improve our king. Improve our bishop for free. Improve our rook for free. Improve our rook for free. improve our rook for free. Just poking and prodding, cementing, fixing the weakness so we can target it. Improve our bishop for free. Force move. And it's -6, so none of these checks do anything, right? -6, totally losing, no resources for white. We let him do it, and then we take the knight. Free stuff, -7. And then you just easy promote. Oh, that's our second mistake, king up. Oh my god, there's a mate in 1 here. What the heck? I was not paying attention to this side of the board at all, but b5 is a mating net, which that's not why I put my rook here, so my brain wasn't even on that train of thought. It was just so I could do this little maneuver, which is a known way to promote. So I was focused on that. That's why they called this a mistake. I was wondering, okay, so we had a mate in 1 with b5, which is crazy. Fine. So no real mistakes, and just a smooth game. It shows kind of the whole point of our setup and the whole point of why we get this knight from here to here to here. It's so that we can play at some point knight here and support it, right? Just like this. And now when he takes, which he's likely to do at some point, you replace it. If that knight was on the queen side, you'd have to take with a pawn, which oftentimes the engine says is playable, but it disconnects everything. It gives him some opportunities to push. It makes the game more complex, and you have to know those ideas, which I don't know. So, very smooth game. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. Good luck and goodbye.